Okay, so now another way that we can kind of look at our project is to look at it as a summary. And we have a feature called the timeline. You've been looking at the timeline ever since we've been doing these videos. That's this thing up here. And what we can do is we can actually fill it with any number of either the summary task or the sub-summary task or even the tasks themselves if we wanted to. And we can place them on the timeline, and it's kind of an automated thing. You don't have to really do much work to get this to work like this. So to kind of start this whole thing out, all you need to do is click anywhere on the timeline here, and then you'll get the timeline tools up here with the Format tab. There's an item on here called Existing Tasks. So we're going to add existing tasks that we have, obviously, to this timeline. Now, you can manually put them up, one at a time if you wanted to, but this is a heck of a lot easier. And it puts it into a special format that looks pretty nice. So you can't lose with this one. So we go over here to existing tasks, just like that. Brings up a little window here, and I'll kind of show you here. We've got all the tasks and subtasks and everything else in there. I shouldn't say subtasks, summary tasks. And then, so what we're going to start out first of all with is I want to put this on there. This will be the create project. That's the summary task, the project summary task. That's the thing at the top there. And then I want to just click on to phase 1. Scroll down a little bit. There's phase 2. A little bit more. There's phase 3. And then missed that. Phase 4. There. And phase 5. All right. Hit OK, and voila. So this is the summary task bar here. Let me stretch this thing out so you can see this better. All right, so you can see this. That is the create project. That's the project summary task. Now what I can do here is I can point anywhere on that bar, hold on the mouse, and just kind of drag it up just a little bit. And you can see how it kind of snaps up to the top there. I let go, and now it is this one. Now it says create project, and there is the range from 5/15 through January 17th, all right, of 2020. All right, now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to each one of these, and I'm going to color code it, all right? So I'll click on the first one here, go to my little drop-down arrow there. I'll pick the gold. There's the first one there. I go to, let's say, phase 3. We'll do the same thing. This time we're going to go with maybe the dark green. And we'll go to phase 2 here. And we'll make that one kind of like a dark blue. That looks good. And then we'll do this one here. This one we'll do with this color here. Band-Aid or whatever you want to call it. And then on the last one here for phase 5, we'll make that kind of a, it's kind of like a gold, maybe this one here. There we go. Well, that's the same as the first one there. Maybe kind of like this gray one here. No, I guess that would be fine. Now I can click into this area right here, go to the little paint bucket here, and I can go with maybe a very light gray, something like that maybe, all right? Now, I do that, this kind of grays out as well, but that's okay. Maybe go ahead and make it bold. Yeah. All right, so now, here's the thing. We just did the phases on this one, right? If we were to add to this also the sub-phases like alpha and delta, it's going to get very, just very hectic in there, very confusing looking. So, what we can actually do is add another timeline bar, right? So up here, we got this thing here called the timeline bar, a little plus in there. You click onto that, it gives us a second one. I'm going to kind of pull this down a little bit like that, and there it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click onto that one, all right? Now, I'm going to go back to the existing tasks, and when I click it, it'll still show these check mark ones here, so don't let that confuse you. I'm on this one. We don't have those, right? They're turned on, but I think it's just because they're up here. But what we do from here at this point on will end up down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on to, let's say, alpha, delta, all right? Scroll down, and we're just going to do all these sub-summaries here, right? Or sub-task summaries. Okay. And just kind of do them all here, not too many more here. One more. So I do that, hit OK, and it does that for me. Pretty cool. Now, the way to get the eyes to kind of associate the top with the bottom is that for phase one is alpha and delta, all right? So what we can actually do is click on the alpha, hold on the control key, click on the delta, all right? And then up here on the bucket, we can actually then pick that color, right? So that'll be the gold there. So there it is, right? Now for the second phase, phase two, that's going to be gamma and epsilon. So we're going to click on the gamma, and then control key epsilon, all right? And that's going to be this one here. So we'll just go with the dark blue. So this one right there. There we go. Now we'll go to phase three. Phase three is just sigma. So we can just go to here, go back into our bucket there, find the green. There we go on that one. And then we can go to phase four. Now phase four is beta and omega. So there's beta, there's omega. Hit the drop down, hit the band-aid, there we go. And then we've got phase five, and phase five is obviously going to be kappa and lambda. So we'll click on this one here with the control key. Go back up to the bucket and find our gray. I think it was this one here. And there we go. Not too bad. Now if later on you start moving things majorly around down here, it's going to automatically update up here. So it's a nice, like I said, it's just a nice little summarization, if anything, you know, and I think it looks pretty nice. So and maybe one other little thing which is kind of bugging me is this one here. If I pull that up just a little bit, that way I get a nice little title there. I think that makes it look nice. And I can actually click onto that, go over here to the size, and just say, okay, I want to make that 11 or something like that. Oh, that might be too big. 10? How about 10? No, how about 9? Probably should have just left it alone. Nah, probably leave it alone. So we'll go with 8. And we can just kind of click away from it there, and there we go. All right, looks pretty good. So now, if you wanted to go and print this, all right, so you can kind of leave it like this if you want. I'll actually pull it down a little bit more here so you can see it. So you can actually leave it like this, and then here's your project down below. Not a lot of room, all right, a lot of viewable room at least, you know, but you can still go through this whole thing. But at some point, you might want to print it, and you can do that just by making sure that you're up here somewhere. Click on a file, click on a print, and there it is. Pretty simple looking object there. And the other little thing as well is the other reason for using this the time scale here is you can actually drag this. Get back here again here. Okay, you can drag it, see, back and forth here, so I can focus in on just a small area there, as you can see. See, that's pretty neat, right? This automatically would change too if I went back here on the time scale and double clicked it, all right, and I brought this from 200 down, all right. Now this is already kind of changed to months down there instead of days. So what I can actually do is if I hit the plus, it'll eventually give me days, just like that. See, pretty narrow. It's kind of confusing, this whole thing with the zoom and all that. It really kind of messes you up. But if you can just remember that whatever you end up trying to do is usually you want to get back to it giving you like the weeks and the days. And the easiest way is just to do it just like I did with the zoom And then what you can do is double click this and bring this from 235% down to maybe 50, 55, something like that. Hit OK, and now we're back to here. And if I go and click onto there, hit my task, hit my scroll to task, that'll bring me right back up to there, and then you can see like where we're starting. And then you can go ahead and drag this if you want to get more of a perspective here. All right, well, I think you've had enough of this, so I appreciate you watching. Hopefully, maybe you can use something like this. Keep in mind that that if you've got the timeline, you've put it together, and you don't want to look at it anymore, you can always just go back up into View here, take off the timeline. That'll take you right back to just this here, maybe a screen that you've never seen before because it doesn't have the timeline up there. And then later on, you can always go back and hit the timeline, and it's already there, already formatted for you. So so you're not going to lose the formatting just because you hide it like that. All right, so appreciate you watching the video. Hope you can use some of these tools. Appreciate you hanging around there for the 11 minutes and 24 seconds. Take care. Bye-bye.